everybody, and welcome to Coffee with Kenobi on Facebook, CWK Live, every Monday night at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. I am your host, of course, Dan Z. Thrilled to be here with all of you. And hey, Lisa is here tonight, too. Awesome. Very, very good. Good to see everyone, of course. I say it every Monday, but it's certainly a highlight for me of the week. My family gets excited about it. I know Mason is watching somewhere not too far away in our galaxy. And it's going to be fun because tonight is all about your top 5 favorite droids from the world of Star Wars. I'm going to review a couple of brand new Star Wars books really quickly, and we're going to go over a lot of Star Wars news and, of course, answer your questions and comments. All right. Very good. Oh, Scott's here too. I love it. Just keep you on the shelves. Scott, good to see you, man. Always happy to have you and everyone here on Coffee with Kenobi's Facebook Live every Monday night at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. And actually, that video really needs to be updated because I've done quite a bit more to the Coffee with Kenobi studios in the meantime. But you are ready. I'm ready. Let's get right into some Star Wars news and conversation. What is, in fact, brewing in the world of Star Wars? Well, a lot of things are brewing in the world of Star Wars. Let's talk about what's maybe the most challenging news. I have it down here on the corner because I didn't want to resize everything. It takes too long to get it to work the way it does. So this is good, but we can still read it just fine. All right. So as you know, all these Star Wars films coming out in the foreseeable future have all been delayed 1 year. Well, look who's here. Hello, Mason. That Mason is saying hello to everyone. He is on my wife's Facebook account. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. I know you've got a list too. So back to the news. This is from Variety. I copied it right from their website. The first of the 3 films is going to launch on December 22nd, 2023. The 2 follow-ups will be December 19th, 2025, and December 17th, 2027. So what should that mean for you? What that means is that everything is pushed back 1 year. This is not a surprise because of everything happening with COVID. I mean, no major releases have been out since this all started. Black Widow would have been out by now. Mulan, Tenet would have been out. A number of other films would have come out, but they're not. So the movies that are already made aren't coming out, but maybe just as important, if not more important, studios can't get together. The amount of people that get together to work on these films, like to actually shoot them, that's hard. Now, if they already had the footage, now you could do all the special effects and the scoring and the editing, on your laptops from home, but you got to shoot the video first. So obviously that's holding everything back. So we wait, and I'm okay with that. I mean, if you have to wait a little bit longer for some quality, then you wait a little bit longer. Then they have another year to flesh out the story, to get it just right, to polish everything up, to give us the Star Wars movies and the addition to the mythology that we deserve. So I think it's a good thing. Of course, feel free to weigh in and tell me what you think about what's brewing in the world of Star Wars. Blake's got something for us. Let me get rid of this little clip here and let's bring Blake in. Blake says, I think the more time they have to plan these films, the better. More time to keep everyone healthy and more time to plan. Absolutely. Completely agree, Blake. It gives you more time to polish it up, to get it ready, to keep everybody healthy, and hopefully for this thing to go. But Lisa says she's getting old. Well, okay, fair enough. We're all getting older, but that's okay. It just gives us more time to get excited. And for me, I think part of the reason I'm okay with it is, as people know who have been listening to the show for a long time, I've always said that I like the anticipation maybe more than the moment or the memory itself. So that just means I get 1 more year to get excited. I'm interested to see how it's going to affect, shows like Coffee with Kenobi and other Star Wars podcasts and blogs and YouTube. It'll be a lot longer before we have new content. As far as films go, there's still 40 plus years of history. There's comics, there's movies, there's animated stuff, there's novels, there's collectibles, a lot of great stuff. So I'm fine with it. Coffee with Kenobi is still going to come to you twice a week, both here every Monday night at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. And of course, our no more release date of Thursdays for the podcast as well. We've got our friends chiming in. Tyler says waiting is fine with me. It was pretty overwhelming getting them every year. Plus, it gives some time to tune them up. I agree. And for me, Star Wars needs to ferment like wine. I don't want it every year or twice a year. I like waiting. And Minta agrees. All good things come to those who wait. Well, there you go. And Jim says, I honestly really think that's going to be a break with the movies. There's still plenty of Star Wars that's been released over the last few years. I'm still fully digesting. So there's going to need to be a break. I'm assuming that's what Jim meant, and I agree with that. Hey, Terry, good to see you, buddy. Very good to see you. Um, by the way, yes, like Colby says, we've got Disney Plus. We've got The Mandalorian, season 2 of The Mandalorian coming out. We've got other Disney Plus shows coming out that are confirmed. Of course, on Coffee with Kenobi, we don't address rumors or things like that. So, what we know for sure is that we've got this one. We've got the all-female cast one coming out. We know we've got the Kenobi one. We've got the Cassian Andor one. So we've got a lot of good stuff coming our way for sure. Let's get to more news. The rest is just kind of fun stuff that if Scott, if you're still watching, I know you're going to be a big fan of as well. If you're collectors, stay tuned. It's going to be cool. So the first thing I want to point out, or second thing, I guess, collectible wise, we saw this, a lot of stuff at San Diego Comic-Con was virtual this year. I'm not sure how many people watched stuff. I was a member of the press for Comic-Con virtually, but it was very different from covering it in person naturally. I mean, you don't have to worry about getting into panels because arguably you could see every panel you wanted to this year. But one thing that was announced is Hot Wheels is coming out with the child slash Baby Yoda car. I almost said Matchbox car. That's just sort of like the old school collector in me. But Hot Wheels is making a miniature or a miniature, depending on which Zare is saying it. Is making that little figure. Anybody interested in that thing? It's a cute little collectible. I'm not sure if I'll get one or not. I'm sure if we do, it'll be rolling around the house somewhere. But Mason, what do you think, buddy? Do you like this thing? Anybody else? Did you say "aw" when you saw it? I mean, it is cute. How could you deny that? It's certainly cute. So that was fun. But the big thing to me this week, collectible wise, was that Target is partnering with Disney to distribute Galaxy's Edge Trading Outpost collectibles. So Galaxy's Edge is one of my favorite places on the planet because it's just so wonderful and so fun, and you're surrounded by, you feel like you're in a Star Wars movie. And they're going to start having some unique collectibles that you can get at Target if you can't make it to Galaxy's Edge. Now, I'm not sure which of this stuff will be on sale at Galaxy's Edge 2. Probably most of it, but it's nice to have something that you can get outside the parks. Tyler is reminding us that Bad Batch is coming out. Absolutely. It's going to be great. Minta weighs in on the child individual car. It's so cute. Maybe it could be a real car. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody made a replica of that. Lisa wants it, but she'll never find it. So keep your eyes open, everybody. You grab an extra one, we'll send it to Lisa. Tyler says, I'm super excited for the Vintage Collection Clone Trooper 3-pack. You know, I didn't put that picture on there, Tyler, but that is going to be really great. Jim's really excited to see there's going to be Galaxy's Edge art book. That's right, written by Amy Radcliffe, who was a big member of our Coffee with Kenobi family with Lattes with Leia when that was on. That was great. We're very excited for Amy. It's so cool. Target might clean my wallet out. I know. Let's look at these things that they have. So Scott is giving a bit of a spoiler, which we're gonna talk about that in a minute, Scott, for sure. Ross ordered the DJ Rex Black Series and Red Astromech from Target. So let's just show these, okay? So the Funko's got their red R5 that Ross is talking about. So this says it's a Galaxy's Edge droid. Now it doesn't look like the one that takes you around for Rise of the Resistance. So I'm not sure where this thing actually is individually in the park. It might just be something you can build at the Droid Depot, so somebody can let me know about that. Blake says he likes how Target is doing this. Florida locals like me aren't going to Disney for a while, so I'm happy I can get even more Star Wars at my local Target. Exactly. And that's Blake in Florida because he knows what's going on. So he can't make it there, and he's close. I can't make it there because I'm in central Illinois, but they're going to have stuff, so that's fun. Marcus, good to see you, man. Marcus, my favorite member of the 501st, joining us on Coffee with Kenobi. Good to see you, buddy. Marcus wants one of everything, so we'll get to work on that for you, Marcus. We'll send one. We'll send one of each thing to you. How about that? Tyler says they're going to hit my wallet hard. That Galaxy's Edge stuff is great, and they're getting exclusive G.I. Joe Classified. Yeah, I might be more excited about the G.I. Joe stuff, to be honest, but I don't know. They're both really cool. Lisa says, I love Captain Cardinal. Stunning. Well, we'll get to that for sure. Speaking of, we've got Captain Cardinal and we've got Rex, or otherwise known as, gosh, RX, DJ R3X, which is, of course, the droid voiced by Paul Rubens. That used to be at Star Tours, but now is the DJ in Oga's Cantina. And they've got Black Series figures of both. Captain Cardinal pretty much looks like Phasma, a repaint, but in red with the same cape. But that's kind of how that character is described. Now, if you've read Phasma, or if you've read Black Spire Outpost, both by Delilah S. Dawson, then you know all about Captain Cardinal, who's a really fascinating character. So it's cool. My only thing, and Clayton Sandell pointed this out to me, what about What about Vi Moradi? Why isn't she a Black Series figure? Because she's pretty much the main character at Galaxy's Edge. So I'm not sure why they didn't put her out there, but yeah, well, gosh, Mary is saying the same thing. Vi, and Mary, I'm glad we're on the same wavelength. I know tonight my Cubs are playing your Cincinnati Reds, so I'm glad you're still joining us and rooting on Coffee with Kenobi. I appreciate that so much. Minta says, I saw Rex before the Star Tours ride was modified. Looks amazing. Yeah, very, very cool. Speaking of cool, the droids you can build, you're gonna be able to buy an exclusive one at Galaxy's Edge, and this is that actual one itself. Something I'm really excited about, which I pre-ordered, is the Lego, which is the Resistance transport that you actually board at the beginning of the Rise of the Resistance attraction at Disney World and Disneyland. And they make a Lego, and it has Vi actually as a Lego there, and it's also got the Mon Calamari that is on there, that is in the attraction, voiced by James Arnold Taylor. So that's very, very cool too. That is great. But the standout for me, and Scott mentioned this a few moments ago, is the Millennium Falcon Smugglers run. Now, look at this thing, and you've got a ton of pictures of it all over the web, but of course, I would love it if you'd go to coffeewithkenobi.com and check it out there. We've got Hasbro sent us all the exclusive high resolution images. Fortunately, Mary says, baseball will not come between friends. Of course not. And Mary, you may not know this, but I'm a huge Cubs fan, and my wife, Deanna, is a huge Cardinal fan. So we've got our fun baseball rivalry in the house too. It just adds to the fun, I think, for sure. Blake says Lego has some of the most amazing Star Wars stuff coming out this year. I agree with you. I ordered that. We've got the Razor Crest coming as well. But back to the Falcon. So this Falcon, I'm not sure. I mean, the box looks like it's kind of been redesigned or repainted or something. And Scott, if you have any idea, please let me know. Or if anybody has any idea, let me know if you're aware. If this is a brand new sort of a sculpt of the Falcon or not, or if it's the same one that they sold for The Force Awakens. This one comes with both versions, the triangular, or not the triangular, the square or the circular radar dishes. The Falcon looks a little more realistic, I guess, like it does actually at Galaxy's Edge. Comes with those red cargo boxes, which are in front of the Falcon at Galaxy's Edge on Batuu. Comes with a Chewbacca 3 3/4 inch figure, but comes with about 5 Porgs, and it comes out with a Hondo Ohnaka 3 3/4 inch figure. The only way to get Hondo, who's one of my favorite Star Wars characters, it's the only way to get him as a 3 3/4 inch figure. All great vintage collection packaging. You know it's going to be high detail. It sold out right away, and then 2 days later, Hasbro re-released it again, and sold out again. But they're going to be in stores on August 30th. But the kicker is, well, before I tell you the kicker, Jim says I'm hoping that Star Celebration exclusives will be released soon. I'm assuming they would be. You know, I thought I'd hear about that too. Something tells me that as we get closer to the actual date of when the celebration was going to be, that we'll find out. So let's keep our eyes open for that, Jim. And if anybody finds out, be sure to post it in CWK Cafe, which is our Facebook group, so we can pre-order whatever they have. All right, so the kicker, the price point on this Falcon, $400. $400. And Tyler says, I love to get the Falcon. My wife's pretty tolerant about my toy collecting, but I think this one would be pushing it. Exactly. Like, could I get that? Yeah, but $400 is a lot of money for something I've already got. I mean, if you looked at my Instagram or Coffee with Kenobi's Instagram page or our story today, I finally last night finished putting stickers on my Power of the Force vintage 1997 Millennium Falcon. It took me how long to put all the stickers on that thing? So this would take me until what, I was 90 to do. So I don't know about that. So Colby says, get another job. Yep, pretty much. And Penguin Random House Audio is sponsoring today's episode of Facebook Live, but I don't think I'm going to use that sponsorship to buy the Falcon. I want to. It'd be great, but that's just a lot of money. So Terry says, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is the same mold as the vintage series from 2012 with different recorded sounds. Okay, Terry, that helps me so much. I was wondering about that. So the vintage series Falcon from 2012, I'm not familiar with that one, Terry. How does that one rank compared to the Power of the Force one from 1997 or from the Force Awakens one? Are they all? I don't think they're all the same. I feel like the one for the Force Awakens is bigger. Terry, do you know, or does anyone know about that? I'd certainly be interested in that for sure. Eric, no problem, man. Happy to have you. You're late. You don't need a late pass. Good to see you. Aminta is echoing what so many of us feel. If the Falcon was cheaper, I would buy it in a heartbeat. Exactly. So Scott says that he thinks Terry is right. Very good. That makes sense to me. And it is massive. So because that is the case, that tells me it's not like the Power of the Force one, which is an exact mold of the one from that Kenner put out in 1979, 1980. Okay. So that's it. I think it's probably going to be like that one, that 2012 one. And that would explain why it's such a giant, massive price point. Also, that explains why they made it as big as it did to make it feel like Galaxy's Edge. So Scott's going to look for comparison photos. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate that. And I didn't forget that we're going to have you on Coffee with Kenobi soon. So maybe when we get all that together, we'll have you on. And I'll try to reach out to Hasbro and see if I can talk to somebody about some specifics for sure. Terry said it is bigger and much closer to movie specs. I'll message you some of the pics and specs later. Great, Terry, that'd be great. And actually, if you want, Terry, my friend, feel free to post it in the CWK Cafe, our exclusive Facebook group, which anybody, all you have to do is request, and we're happy to bring you in for sure. Blake, the retail price point on this thing is $400, so it's expensive. Ross says, go ping and Random House Audio. Thanks to the Dr. Afro SDCC panel. That was cool. And if anyone has gotten a chance yet, and I'll just jump into this now, well, because I think it's important. Dr. Afro came out. It's great. The full cast is awesome. It very much reads or plays like a radio drama from the Bud Collyer Superman radio serialized days from the 40s. Similar to Dooku Jedi Lost, but with a different story, different characters. Vader plays prominently. It very much echoes the Kieran Gillen Dr. Afro series, but also brings in a lot of elements of the Star Wars comics from 2015 and 16 and addresses them or gives different angles and perspectives. And you really walk in the mind of Dr. Afro like you don't into any Star Wars character. I think it's kind of unprecedented. It's very, very heavy. It's not something I would listen to around kids personally, but it's an excellent way to enjoy a Star Wars story. And again, it's exclusive to Penguin Random House Audio. There's no novelization or print copy of it at this point. But could not recommend it highly enough. And I'm not just saying that because Penguin Random House Audio is sponsoring the show. They've given me full carte blanche to, of course, say however I feel and be honest, and I'm always going to be for sure. Do you need Audible to record it or to listen to it? You know, that's a good question. I've always been told that wherever you can find audiobooks, you can get it. So I think you can listen to it through Amazon as well. So there is that. So I think what's going on now, that's pretty much all the Star Wars news and collectibles we're going to talk about today. But it's time to get to our top 5, which means get those lists ready. This is going to be a really fun one. It's time to talk about our top 5 favorite Star Wars droids. I need a little transition video to get into the top 5, I think. Here we are. Top 5 Star Wars droids. Every week the list is challenging. Every week I say the lists are hard to do. But this one was hard because there are so many droids in the world of Star Wars, from the movies, the animated stuff. I even played with putting the murder bots 000 and BT in there, but from the Dr. Afro series, the aforementioned series, but they're not exactly lovable. They're funny and they're frightening, but I'm not going to put them in there. Hopefully somebody else will. I don't know. So how did I try to come up with my criteria? What had a lasting impact on the story? What had an impact on me? What made me smile? What design did I like? What was cool? I mean, it all kind of went into it. And it was very hard. And honestly, right now, as we're doing this and we're 20 minutes into the show, I still don't know which is 1 and which is 2. My 1 and 2 are constantly sort of having a tug of war in my brain. So we'll find out. Scott says he got his on Audible. Colby's jumping out right away. BB-8, adorable, reliable, and a quick thinker. Revolutionary design, too. Very, very good. Mason's number 5. Let's see, I got his in order, too. I promise Mason I get him some pictures. But Mason's number 5 is the Magna Guards, which is a really cool choice. My number 5, and this might be a surprise for people, I know. My number 5 is CB-23. Now, CB-23 is from Star Wars Resistance. And CB-23 is, of course, a BB unit like BB-8 They teamed up together on a couple of episodes. But CB23 has this very incredible loyalty, of course. But it also is just super cute, but also functions well in combat too. Like even cuter perhaps than BB-8 as far as its personality. I like the loyalty. I like kind of the red and the light blue design. I thought it was just a really fun character, and I was always captivated by it. So CB23 is my number 5. Minta's number 5 is Chopper. Let me get this up here. Chopper from Rebels. He can be a smart aleck at times, but he always comes through in the end. That's true. Chopper is a great, great choice. Boy, these are coming. There's a lot of them. This is great. Huang, he's the Ollivander of lightsabers, and I love that. Plus, he's voiced by David Tennant, my favorite doctor. Yes, when Mesa and I were making our list, we debated putting Huang on there, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, because he even trained Master Yoda and helps build all the lightsabers, which is really cool. The Ollivanders of lightsabers. I like that. That's a good way to say it, Tyler. Mary's DCL, Eureka Quell, and Alphabet Squadron, and the droid was important to our assimilation into the New Republic. An excellent choice, a great deep cut. Elisa says Chopper, eternally cranky like me. That's funny. That is funny. Jim's number 5 is BB-8 due to nostalgia, because whenever I see him, I think of the excitement I had when I first saw The Force Awakens, for sure. Daniel's number 5 is Chopper. Look at everybody on here. This is great. Blake says HK-47 will be my only non-canon mention. He's a sarcastic assassin droid from the Knights of the Old Republic games. And Blake, if we ever do a Knights of the Old Republic show, we got to have you on, because that obviously is, you've mentioned that for the past few weeks. That is obviously something that's in your wheelhouse. Terry's number 5 was HK-47, a great tribute to the Old Republic era. Minta, don't worry about autocorrect. When you're trying to type fast and you're thinking and you're watching, I totally understand, so no worries. Ross's 5 is DJ R3, formerly RX24, from Rebels to Star Tours, and then Oga's Cantina, straight up playa. Great playlist on Spotify. Yeah, that playlist on Spotify is solid gold. I agree. And we mentioned DJ Rex at the top of the show with the collectible from Target. That all the reasons that I mentioned, and Ross is echoing them. It's great. A great choice. Eric's Katie the Pink Astromech. Oh, nice. KT, that's right. Who makes an appearance in the Clone Wars and was made famous because of the founder of the 501st and his daughter. So that's a good call too. All right, let's do number 4. Mason's number 4 is the Commando droid. The Commando droid. I think it's fair to say that Mason feels this way because of Battlefront and how fun these droids are to play in Battlefront, and they certainly are Star Wars Battlefront 2, which we play on the PS4. A great choice. Very, very fun. Almost made my list too, for sure. By the way, we do have a spot at the end for honorable mentions, so you'll get a chance for that as well. My number 4 is, I should have written this down a lot cleaner. It would have been easier to find. My number 4 is the Imperial probe droid. Now, the Imperial probe droid is not on camera very long. When it is, it's either looking around, gets blown up. But the way that this thing makes its first appearance on camera, the sound of the probe droid, the way it looks, I still have the Kenner one that came with the Battle of Hoth playset, which is basically a little piece of plastic, and you push a button and it falls off, like it got shot by Han Solo. Played that lots of times. But I've always loved the probe droid. I didn't buy the 40th anniversary one, the Black Series one yet. I probably need to do that. But a great, great design. As far as impact on the story, there's almost none. But it's still really fun. For sure. Okay, let's get to everybody else's. Colby says, L337, another awesome design. Her relationship with Lando cracks me up. I love that she's a radical abolitionist. Interesting, Colby. Did you watch the show where we talked about our least favorite characters? Watch that one, and then we'll talk later about L3. But it's cool that you like L3. That is wonderful. Minta's number 4 is BB-8, always reliable and adorable, and the only other astromech who can do a thumbs up. That's true. Good point. Tyler's number 4, R2-D2, arguably the hero of Star Wars. I'm going to call right now. I'm going to guess that Blake's number 1 is R2-D2. Just saying. Back to Tyler's comment. Every main character should own a life debt to how many times he gets him out of trouble. That's definitely true. Jim's is EV99 mainly because her voice is so unique and almost intimidating for a droid at least. I like EV99 as well. A very cool design. Lisa likes K2SO, snarky, brave, and loyal. Lisa, I'm noticing a pattern here with your choices. Ross says, ID10, Ida Inversio's secret droid from Star Wars Battlefront 2. Oh, what a cool idea. I didn't think about that. Says, a mini pro droid sleek slicer, say that 5 times fast, and can be worn as a backpack. This is the droid I would want the most. Interesting. So, Birchie, good to have you, is agreeing for sure. Terry says the pro droid scene in the beginning of ESP was magical. It's good. Absolutely. Number 4, Dio, I can totally relate. Fascinating. Well, that might be something worth chatting about someday. Daniel says R3. Very cool. Blake says the Gonk droid, they make me smile for some reason. They were also my wife's favorites for a contact photo on my phone. So it always makes me laugh, and yes, she knows and she thinks it's funny. That's good. I love it. Oh, don't worry, Colby. I don't want to give you any homework, but there's a lot of interesting conversation there that I think you'll get a kick out of as well. Okay, that's number 4. Let's go to 3. Number 3, first I'll throw Mason's up there. Mason's number 3 favorite is Droidicus. He likes them because of Battlefront, but I think it's definitely true that Mason, because he loves Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, that he loves the Droidicus or slash Destroyer droids, that is why they made his list. And he even said to me, how can I say I like Phantom Menace if I don't have Droidicus on there? So, good choice, son. My number 3 is... Oh, of course. My number 3 is C3PO. Now, C3PO, certainly there's a lot of different things you could say about C3PO. But my first actual connection with Star Wars, as far as I identified a character with this film and this franchise, even though at the time we didn't know it was going to be a franchise because it was the only one that was out, was my very first character I ever got, my very first Star Wars anything I got before I even saw the original movie for the first time was C3PO. Thought the droid looked cool. All I knew was what I saw as a figure. I bought it. Boom. You see in the beginning of each show, you see what my office is like. So, and C3PO certainly has different levels of appeal in all the films, but in A New Hope, and especially in Empire, and in The Rise of Skywalker, he's excellent. He's fun in Return of the Jedi, too. The prequels, that's a little more debatable, at least from where I stand. But C3PO is very important to the integrity, to the history of Star Wars, and to my fandom, because, again, it's the first droid I ever knew. First character I ever knew. So I had to put C3PO on there. And as I said a few weeks ago, when I went to the premiere of Solo in Hollywood, it was the first premiere I'd been invited to, and I brought that figure with me and carried it in my suit pocket just as sort of a memento of how far my fandom has taken me. It was just, so he'll always have a sentimental place in my heart. Let's get to your number 3s. Jim's number 3 is R5D4, mainly due to nostalgia because R5 was one of my first action figures. See, there you go. The first action figure is a droid, stays with you. Minta's number 3, also the same. A great storyteller and can speak countless languages, even if he's a little annoying sometimes. Very fair. Colby says Chopper. Chopper has no chill. He is grumpy, cantankerous, and the heart of the Ghost family. That's a fun description of Chopper. I like that. Lisa Huang, 2 words, David Tennant. Yes, for sure. And that doesn't surprise me now that I think about that. That's a good choice. Eric's also C3PO, gets a bad rap and gets treated really badly. He does, and you should definitely read Anthony Daniels' book, his biography, I Am C3PO. And you may have known that when that book came out late last year, we had Anthony Daniels on Coffee with Kenobi, very charming man. Spoken to him in person a couple of times as well. And he's really tells a captivating story about C3PO, what it's like to be in that suit, what it's like to be identified with that character, and just sort of where it has taken him. So it's good. Ross's 3 is also Chopper. We're getting a lot of Choppers. C110P. You know you're big time when you're part of the Ghost crew and get a cameo in Rogue One. Best droid laugh as well. That's true. And of course, voiced by Dave Filoni, as we all know. Tyler, K2SO's dry sense of humor is great to hear. Also able to hold his own in the battle. That's for sure. That is for sure. Another one for Chopper. Wow, Chopper's really lining up at 3. Blake says Chopper had so much spunk, and seeing his little arms come out when he got going always made me laugh. That's very fun. Terry says Vader and 3PO were my first 2 Kenner figures. A lot of sentimental love for 3PO. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's That's exactly how I feel about it too, Terry. Good choice. I don't remember what my second character was, but I wish I did know. Remember, I got 3PO and my brother got Luke. Okay, so let's go to number twos now. So Mason's number two, and he's been kind of a lot for people, is Chopper, for sure. A great choice. Mike wants to know, what about HK-47? How many bots can call you a meatbag? That's funny. That's a good one, Mike. Mason's number two is Chopper. We love Chopper. And Mason wanted me to point out a part of Chopper that is important to his appeal. Chopper is very cantankerous. He's very cranky, as Lisa mentioned. He's tough in battle. He's reliable. And he's very temperamental. But when Kanan Jarrus meets his Jedi, and it is Chopper that goes up to Hera, extends his robotic arm, and holds Hera's hand. A very touching, powerful, emotional moment that shows that there's more to Chopper than just being cantankerous, which is important. And I'm just going to say it, and it's helped me decide. Chopper is my number two as well. So Mason, I have the same. Chopper is my number two. Chopper was almost number one for me, and I struggled with it. But you'll see soon who my number one is. Okay. So Jim says BD1 from Fallen Order. He's like Cal Kestis' loyal puppy. Great. And again, every week you're on, when we're on, and Jim, you talk about Jedi Fallen Order, I keep thinking I've got to play this game. Colby, K2SO, love the design, his dry wit, his awesome dialogue. He's very quotable. Awesome. Oh, I looked down because I just got a message that the Cubs scored again. So I'm very happy. Sorry, Mary. I don't even know who they're playing. How about that? Lisa, C3PO cares enough to fret for others and himself, of course. That's true. He also makes me laugh, and he was also my first action figure. Isn't it cool? Like, people of our generation, C3PO just means something different to us. Just, I don't know. Hard to explain. Eric picks one that was almost in my top 5. FX7, one of the coolest action figures. Totally agree. A great, great action figure, no doubt. Tyler says, Chopper, a trash-talking, cranky droid, always gives everybody a hard time. Pretty much my brother is a droid. I love it. And more love for Chopper. I love that Chopper's in the top of everybody's list. That's cool. Ross has 3PO. He was always here, but the moment from the Rise of Skywalker before his memory is wiped is one of my favorites in all of Star Wars. I agree. Very, very powerful. Terry's number 2 is K2. Made Rogue One very enjoyable with his lines. There's no doubt about that. Blake's number 2. Oh, sorry. Minta's number 2 is R2. Easy for me to say. He's been with the Skywalker since the beginning and has witnessed every single war. Incredibly reliable and handy in situations. I agree. Feel like he got short shrift in the sequel trilogy. I wish we would have seen more of R2. Blake's number 2, K2SO. His personality reminded me of myself, which could be good or bad. But man, he was so funny and a true hero at the end of Rogue One. Nice. I like that. All right. Number 1. Let's see what our number 1 is. Let's see. So, Chopper was going to be my number 1, but he's not. Before we get to him, I will share Mason's number 1. Mason's number 1 is, let me find it here on the picture. Here it is. Battle Droids. Now, I'm going to talk about Battle Droids for this. Mason loves them, I think for the reasons I'm about to say. The Battle Droids, at first when I saw The Phantom Menace, I just think I spent the whole movie lamenting that they weren't stormtroopers and being sad that they weren't stormtroopers. But then I got over myself and made peace with it, and Battle Droids were whatever. But then the Clone Wars came around, and the Battle Droids became funny. No, hilarious to me. So much so that Mason and I started imitating the Battle Droids and talking like them when we would play games. And that was a bad impression. But we'd chase each other and pretend we were blasting and talk like the Battle Droids and fall over and just laugh and laugh and laugh. And it just made them very appealing. But even before I met, or before we had our sweet little Mason, I just liked the Battle Droids because of the Clone Wars. And the Clone Wars did a lot of things for me. It made me love the clones, it made me love the Battle Droids, it made me love Anakin Skywalker. So that's them. But my number 1, and it looks like everybody else is going to feel the same way, is R2-D2. R2 wasn't even on my radar. And then last week somebody mentioned R2, and I was just like, how could I not pick R2-D2 as the best? As a kid, I wanted a real R2-D2. I have spent a lot of time debating how could I ever buy one of these? Where would I put it in my house? I would just want to turn it on and look at it, and because it'd just be like, it's just like the ultimate, one of the most iconic things about Star Wars is that beautiful little blue garbage can that's actually like a Swiss Army knife and an iPhone all in one, and just like a dream droid that did so much for every character in Star Wars. Someone mentioned that earlier. Let's get to all your number ones for sure. Okay, Terry, although predictable, R2 is my top choice. If I could have three things from Star Wars, it would be R2, the Falcon, and a lightsaber. Same as when I was a kid. Terry, we were separated at birth. Because I would want those three things too. The R2, the Falcon, and a lightsaber. Exactly, exactly. Colby feels the same. R2-D2, he is loyal, he is feisty, he is smart, he is a hero. Excellent, succinct, and excellent. Eric, R2, also, how can you not pick the droid who's telling the story and he saves the day? Yes. First non-R2 one, but still a great, great choice is K2SO. His humor gets to me. His humor gets to me, and he's great in battle. He speaks his own mind, can hold his own against droids and stormtroopers alike, and Cassian too. That's right. Tyler's number one is BB-8. His unique and colorful design really caught my eye when first revealed. After seeing The Force Awakens and his personality, he became my favorite droid. He shows such emotion for being non-human. Yep, I love BB-8 too. BB-8, if Pug were a droid, it'd be BB-8, adorable, funny, smart, and loyal. Awesome. Daniel's number one. Oh, Clone Wars, I'm assuming that's what you're saying. Ross also has R2. Doesn't really need an explanation. Arguably the most important character in all Star Wars. Interesting. I like that. And Blake, as I predicted, R2-D2, our heroes would have been crushed in the trash compactor without him, thus no more Star Wars. That's just one of the countless times that droid saved everyone's lives. I agree. True. Jim's on 1K2SO. I really enjoyed his dynamic with Jyn Erso, especially how the two were able to reconcile their differences and come to an understanding before the end. Very good. Wow. I love it. I love it. What a great top five. This really brought out a lot of fun stuff from everyone. I really appreciate your feedback, and I love that you're preparing your lists. Just adds so much to this conversation, and I love it. So top five droids was great. Now, what's next week's top five? It's gonna be a little bit different personality-wise, but you've also got some interesting things you have to kind of think about. And next week we're gonna do top five Star Wars planets. Top five Star Wars planets. So, think of the moments, the memories, the atmospheres, the creatures, the environment, the characters from these planets, and come up with your top five favorite Star Wars planets. Daniel pointing out that R2 can open any door. True. Terry pointing out R5D4 is an honorable mention. The entire original trilogy would have been different if he hadn't broken down on the Skywalker farm. Honorable mention Dio. Good choice. My honorable mentions are AP5. No one could brought up AP5 from Rebels. Battle Droids, and then DJ Rex or DJR3X from Batu, for sure. Okay. Two great lists in a row now. Good, I'm glad you like them, man. That's great news. Speaking of liking, let's get to some Star Wars reviews. This is going to be a newish segment. I got a bunch of stuff to review, and I'm going to talk about on the podcast too. But first, let's talk about Star Wars Dark Legends. I really need to get a new camera someday so I can kind of spotlight some of these things. But this is a shorter book. It is written by George Mann, who did the Star Wars Myths and Legends book, or Star Wars Myths and Fables books from before. Basically, these are stories that are told in the Star Wars universe. So, like, they're in universe stories that characters in Star Wars galaxy in their mythology would conceivably hear. Like Luke Skywalker could conceivably have heard some of these stories growing up or something like that. Although they're all kind of Sith heavy, or most of them are. But it's a great book. It's let me see how many stories it is. It's not a ton of stories. It's let me see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's only 7 stories. And each one very much is thematic. Like, I'm not going to tell you what stories are because I don't want to ruin them, but one of them reminds me of Dracula. One of them reminds me of the werewolf, the Legend of the Werewolf. One of them reminds me of an Edgar Allan Poe story. There's another one that reminds me of just a lot of different horror genres, but it's fun. They're well written. Personally, I feel like they're a little predictable, but that's just the English teacher in me. But it's a great read. It's great fun, and I got through it in 2 days pretty quickly, and that's with a lot of interruptions. So highly recommend Star Wars Dark Legends for sure. Let's see. Ross is excited to pick this one up, and you'll love it, man. Tyler says so. It's like Tales of the Beat of the Bard, but for Star Wars. That's really cool. Yeah, and this is the second one. The other one was Myths and Fables from the Star Wars universe, and it has like a dragon on the front. The same author, and they're going to have another one coming out in a few months too. That they announced at Comic-Con as well. But yeah, it's very good. Colby weighs in on R2. I would love more R2 in the sequel trilogy, but I came to terms with what we got because we got so much of him in the prequels and the Clone Wars. He truly became legendary. That's true. And less is more in that instance as well. Very good. All right, the next one I want to review quickly is The Traveler's Guide to Batuu. Now, this is written by Cole Horton, although in this is basically literally what it says. It's a Traveler's Guide to Batuu. It talks about, it's basically, I don't know how much I'm allowed to show, but basically it kind of goes through and gives you a lot of stuff about Galaxy's Edge. It has some great maps. It's got an awesome section in the end where it has the Orabesh alphabet that you can translate. But basically it's like an in-world guidebook that pretends like Batu is a real place, and you would take it there. Like similar like if you go to Paris or London, or if you come to the States. You want to know about the food, you want to know about the customs and the culture and the shopping and the money and everything. It walks you through it and treats it like a real thing, and it's fun. I'm a huge, massive fan of Batu. I like this book a lot. It's fun. I wanted more when I was done, so that's always a good thing. And Scott loves it. I know Scott was recently at Galaxy's Edge in Batu. Blake talks about that cover would make an amazing poster. Oh, speaking of, he said he had Horton's book with him at Galaxy's Edge on his phone. Great guide. It is a great guide. It's fun. Lisa likes it too. And Lisa, you're a Batu veteran as well. I wanted more. I wanted more of the legacy and lore. I wanted to pour more into Doc Ondar's. Personally, I want to talk more about Oga's. I want to get much more into the myth. I feel like it barely scratches the surface of some of the stuff in there. But there's only so many pages, and there's a lot they had to get through. It's a really fun book. If you like Galaxy's Edge, or you want to know more about it before you go, I highly recommend this book. It's a fun guide. Kudos to Cole, who of course I'm a fan of and a friend of mine, and the co-writer along with Pablo Hidalgo of the Star Wars book that I wrote as well, which will come out in October. We'll probably talk about that soon. So Minta says both books sound promising. They are good. So this one, The Merry Rise of Skywalker by Ian Doescher. Now, full disclosure, Ian, as some of you know who have been on CWK Cafe Today, again, our Facebook group, Ian, after Facebook Live, I'm going to interview Ian on Skype. And we're going to do a video segment, which I've asked you to write questions and put on the Facebook page. And I'm literally going to, while I'm talking, I'm going to pull up our Facebook group, CWK Cafe, and read the questions. Give your names and your questions to Ian. So that's really fun. We wanted to have him on the show tonight, but it didn't work out. And, life is busy, but we're going to record that segment. I'll show it to you next week. You're going to love it. But if you have any questions about this book, if you're not sure about it, like what it's about, if you've read any of the William Shakespeare Star Wars books by Ian Doescher, they're wonderful. They're written in iambic pentameter, which is Shakespearean language and his style. And he basically took all of the Star Wars Skywalker films and rewrote them as Shakespeare would. A similar language, but not as hard as Shakespeare, but a similar idea with the rhyme scheme and the character analysis. And look, I love this book. I say it's an absolute must to get. And honestly, I'm not sure if my criticism is valid, because when this started, Ian was one of the first guests I ever had on Coffee with Kenobi. Ian and Mark Newbold, actually, and John Jackson Miller, those three. So he's one of the first we had on. He and I became fast friends. I helped him work on the prequels of Shakespeare. I mean, I was more of a consultant and helped him with the Star Wars lore and things like that. He did all the writing naturally because he's such a gifted writer. And if you look in the prequels and the sequel trilogy, he mentions me at the end of each book, which is a wonderful blessing. So it's great. I'm insanely biased towards Ian Doescher. I think he's a wonderful man and he's a great writer. It's a great book. It actually, and I'm actually going to say this, I actually think I think this and Ray Carson's novelization of The Rise of Skywalker make this story better for me than the actual movie itself. So if you like The Rise of Skywalker, then you will love The Merry Rise of Skywalker. So that's my 3 reviews. Be sure to check them out. Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? That's right. Deny thy father and refuse thy name, or if thou wilt not be but sworn my love, now no longer be a Capulet. See, I love Shakespeare. I know the majority of Hamlet and Romeo and Juliet by heart because I teach it every year, so I'm insanely biased. Star Wars and Shakespeare combined doesn't get any better than that for me. That's just me. All right. Very good. So we've got, let's see. Yeah, we're going to go into the next thing real quick. It's just going to be Ask Dan Z. You can ask me any questions about Star Wars merchandise, about podcasting, about anything in the world of Star Wars or the show Coffee with Kenobi, and I'm happy to do that. But I made a fun little transition to lead into the next segment. Let's do it. Well, I had the video and I re-edited a little bit, so I thought that would be a fun Ask Dan Z segment. Those clips are from me at San Anselmo. There is a fountain made by Lawrence Noble. It's got a statue of Indiana Jones and Yoda. It's the same guy who did the Yoda at Lucasfilm, but they made that one and they made the one at San Anselmo. This is the place where George Lucas grew up, and so I went there. I actually took Tom Gross with me the last time I went. Thank you, Tyler. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's fun. And it's also some footage of me at Rancho Obi-Wan inside the Steve Sansweet's private library, and then walking up and down one of the main aisles of Rancho Obi-Wan, the world's largest collection of Star Wars memorabilia. And then, of course, the end is me at Lucasfilm. So fun. Thank you, everybody, for that. Eric's got a fun little twist. Does a rose by any other name smell sweet? Nice. Very good. There's a ton in that book of all kinds of little Easter eggs to Shakespeare and pop culture as well. But again, we're going to talk about that next week. So, don't we have any questions before we wrap up? We went kind of long this week, but a lot to get through. It's honestly, it's contagious when I'm talking with you all. It gives me ideas for different things. I love your feedback. I love your ideas on everything. It's so much fun. Speaking of so much fun, you knew this was coming, right? My plug for my book coming out October 20th, the Star Wars book written by myself, Pablo Hidalgo, and Cole Horton. It's a fun book that's really going to expand your knowledge of a galaxy far, far away, as the tagline says, but it really has some fascinating things about the world of Star Wars that you are going to love. Ross wants to know, is the Batu travel guide already released? Yeah, I think it is out already. In fact, let me see. Yeah, it says it came out July 21st. So yeah, that one's out already. You're able to get that one. You're able to order it on Amazon as well. It's really, it's a fun one, especially again if you like Batu. When do you think the Mandalorian Season 2 trailer will drop, and how do you think it'll be released, like an event? Well, that's good. I bet it would have been released at Comic-Con. Obviously, that isn't going to happen. So then, undoubtedly, it's going to probably be released at Star Wars Celebration. And since we don't have Star Wars Celebration, I'm guessing it'll be that week. That's just my assumption, Blake. I have no inside information on that, but that's my hope anyway. Howard says, gotta say my weekly comments on how much I enjoyed Pour Over this week. Top 15 fictional characters that made my list, but it was way harder than I expected. Thank you, Tyler. And Tyler is, like so many of you, are great supporters of our Patreon page. This week we did 11 through 15 of our top 15 favorite fictional characters. We only made it 11 to 15 this week. But it was like movies, plays, comics, sitcoms, TV shows, novels, any fictional characters at all. We're all fair game. It was hard to come up with. A lot of crazy criteria, but it was really something else. I can tell you. It was really fun. All right, so I think that's probably going to do it. Be sure to join me next week at Monday night at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. Be sure to get your top 5 favorite Star Wars planets ready to go. It's going to be fun, interesting way to kind of figure out how you want to make that list, but it's definitely something that I think will be fun to sort of explore too. So Colby's got another plug for Pro with love. Thanks, man. Again, thank you for your support and contributions to Coffee with Kenobi's Patreon page. If you're interested, go to patreon.com/coffeewithkenobi. The only place they are exclusive weekly Coffee with Kenobi podcast hosted by myself, Tom Gross, and Corey Flip. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Birchie, good to have you with us. Thanks to all of you for joining me every Monday night at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. It is a blast chatting with each and every one of you. I love so much talking Star Wars with you, hearing your thoughts and opinions on everything. It's been an absolute blast. Of course, spending this week with you, a great way to start every week. Have a great week and weekend, everybody. This week, got some big news. Guess who's going to be on Coffee with Kenobi this week? Ahmed Best. That's right. Jar Jar Binks himself is going to join us on Coffee with Kenobi. He is an amazing guy, literally a gentleman and a scholar. I can't wait for you to hear that podcast. It is wonderful. Ahmed Best is a great guy. Had a great time talking with him. It's going to be so fun. Conquer the week, friends. Absolutely. Eric, thank you. Tyler, thank you so much. Minta, may the force be with you. Jim, thank you. Terry, thank you so much. I don't want to miss anybody. You're awesome, dude. And Arzal, you're all. May the force be with you. Thank you, dude. You are awesome as well. I really appreciate that. Scott, to the Spire, thanks for joining us tonight, buddy. And Colby, thank you, everybody. Have a great week, everybody. Until next time, remember, this is the podcast you're looking for.